I've got some cute things to show you. Let me refresh. It looks like YouTube's not there yet. There we go. Now I see YouTubers. All right, now let's get TikTok. All right. Hey, is that Carol? Hi, Carol. How are you? Thank you all for being here already. Okay. Well, if you're just joining in, today is Tuesday, so we always do bow making on Tuesdays. And I've had some audio issues on Facebook and YouTube. You guys let me know if everything's going okay, if you can hear me all right. I did a test today and it seemed like it worked for me, but that's not always the case on your end. So be sure and let me know. I want it to be a good experience for you. Hey, Roseanne. Hey, Cheryl. Thank you for being here. And there's Nancy and Donna and Jamie on YouTube. Thank you for being here. How about TikTok? Do we have anybody over there yet? Let me see. I can't even see comments there, so, okay. And if you're on TikTok and if you have any questions, just go ahead and post them in the comments. I'll try to come back and answer as best I can. Usually once I get started making a bow, I don't look up at comments because I get distracted very easily. Squirrel syndrome is really bad in my blood. But today we're going to be making bows on the Easy Bow Maker. And if you're not familiar with it, this is the tool I'm talking about. And it's just a board. It really is very useful. I think it's probably the easiest to learn of the bow makers. Not that I love Pro Bow, don't get me wrong, but it's a little bit more of a learning curve than the Easy Bow, in my opinion. But we're going to be making the bow right here. We're going to hold our ribbon over here. I always get questions about this little peg right here. And this little peg I have never used. It's for like itty bitty bows, so we'll be ignoring that. But as I said, the center of the bow will sit right here, and we'll be actually working outward with our measurements. You know, I've got the measurements right here as far as the inches, and oh, I just heard the, what's it called? The Roomba start up upstairs. I thought it was off. I hope it doesn't distract us too much, but hopefully it won't be right over the top of us. But anyway, the whole board itself is about 20 inches. Well, our measurements go out to about 8 inches on either side. But generally, the most frequent bows I make are anywhere between a 5-inch loop to a 7-inch loop. Now, if you're talking about doing a tree topper, then you might be working out here, but I usually don't do that for my wreaths and floral designs. But we're going to talk about more than the mechanics about making bows today. I'm going to be also talking about how I choose my ribbon to for my designs and how I match it. So, hey Charlotte, how are you? And there's Lourdes, Robbie. Thank you for being here. Barbara loves her Easy Bow. Good deal. Yes, this attachment is adorable, and I kicked myself. I bought 2 of them last year. I only used 1 of them. This is left over, and I still haven't used her. I can't believe it, but I love the colors. You guys know I love bright colors, but it's a little watermelon gal, and she has her matching hat. But we're going to be matching ribbons to her, and I always try to start out my designs with a focal point, whether it be a ribbon, a flower, I said ribbon, whether it be a wreath attachment, a flower, a sign. And yes, sometimes I do pick my ribbon as the focal point. But this time we're going to be using this wreath attachment as our focal point, and we're going to match her. And I've selected several ribbons to kind of talk about them with you. But, you know, we start out, we look at the general color. And now everybody's taste is different. I don't like to use a whole lot of patterns in my ribbons. You'll see me a lot of times use a solid just to kind of quiet down all the patterns. Some people will use just patterns. Everybody's taste is different. I'm just telling you how I practice. But I'm going through my stash, and you know what? I just noticed her little watermelon fell off. She had a little watermelon slice right here. I'll have to find another one. She had it right above her hat. See, I told you I get distracted very easily. But so right away, I see there's a lot of pink going on. You know, a lot of the watermelon insides are pink, kind of between a pink and a red. But I'm going over to my ribbon rack, and I'm just looking for my pink ribbons that I think might work. And right away, I see this pink with the black polka dots. She's got polka dots in her shoes. She's got pink polka dots in her hats. And so I'm thinking, hey, that one's the one that will really help to tie things together. So you can talk about tying your ribbon in with your colors, but then also the patterns. And so I'm looking, and I see this Harlequin too. Well, that will work. It has the pink, and it also has the lime green. Now, I'm not thinking about matching these ribbons together yet, okay? So we're just picking out ribbons that are going to work. And this is how I go through my process, okay? So I'm still in front of my ribbon rack, still looking at all my availabilities. And I also see this one. It has the pink. It has the red. And if you can see, she has a little bit of red here in her leg. And then it also has some of the lime green. So I'm thinking, okay, this is a possibility. And I think about watermelons when I look at this ribbon. So we got those. Well, then I come across this one. This one also work. And then remember what I was saying about the patterns. You know, she's got this rickrack around her hat. She's got some rickrack down there. This would be a winner right here. Okay, plus it's a pattern ribbon, but it's not nearly as busy as the rest of these. These almost reads as a, you'll hear me talk about reads as a solid, and that means the pattern is not really busy, although it technically is a pattern ribbon. So this one so far I like the best. All right, and then I'm looking, I've got all these pinks picked out, except I don't have a solid. So I'm looking for a solid. So if I had a 2.5 inch hot pink solid, I would go with that. I don't have, well, I've got one, but I don't have enough to make a bow. So I'm thinking I'll just go with, throw ahead this 1.5 solid. And again, the solids to me kind of pull everything together, and it also quiets the design. And I always talk about, if you think about having matte, like the matting behind a picture frame, it kind of brings attention to the photo. I feel the same way about solids, and a lot of times I'll use it toward the back of my bow for that reason. Okay, so now I'm needing a little bit more green. Now, that being said too, I could have also brought in a black and white, a solid black, something like that, or black and white polka dot. That would have been cute. Well, I'm going over to my greens, and there's a number of them that I could have picked, but I saw this one, and I thought that would work the best of my greens. I'm wanting the primary color to be pink, okay? All right, so now I've brought all of this over to my table. I've got my attachment here beside me. I hope you guys can see all of this. I've got my attachment here beside me, and I'm thinking, okay, which one do I think is going to work the best? Well, right away, I start out with a 2.5. I told you I don't have a solid pink 2.5. That would have been one of my highest priorities, but I don't have enough. I've got these two. So I'm looking at it, and I'm thinking, you know, all of this looks pretty busy to me. If I pick this hot pink and polka dot ribbon, it's going to be even busier in my opinion. This, you heard me talk about this, you know, a ribbon that has a pattern reading as a solid. This is another example. So I'm thinking this one, I think, will help to center. Since I don't have my solid pink in a 2.5 inch, I'm going to go with this one. I think that one really highlights all the colors, but yet it's not too busy. So I'm getting rid of this one. Now, if I wanted to, again, if you're somebody that likes a lot of pattern, you could have left that in, but I like a little bit less busyness, okay? All right, so now that I don't have any other 2.5 inch ribbons, so I'm looking here. I've got the Rick Rack, which I already know I like. I've got these two other pattern ribbons. This one would work, and I could put that in there, but again, I'm trying not to be too busy because I've already got a lot of busyness. Now, if I had a pink, like a hot pink gingham ribbon, I could have thrown that in there, but I don't. I think this is going to be too busy if I put these all together. So this one's gone. Same thing with this one. Look at how that competes with that. So this one's gone. So now I've got down to two of my ribbons. I want at least another one. And I'm thinking I'm going to bring in this solid pink. Again, if I'd had a 2.5 pink, I would have gone with that, a 2.5 solid. But I think this is going to make a perfect bow for this wreath. Again, these pants are so busy, and by the time I get all my other goodies in there, I'm needing a bow that's not too busy. So that's what we're going to make today. Okay, I hope that makes sense. I know I rambled there for a while, but... All right, I see some people on TikTok. I can't see who it is. My eyes are not good enough. I hope you're all doing well. Oh, thank you, Barbara. Thank you. Thank you so much. Hi, Phyllis. All right, I'm going to look through in here and see if I have any questions so far. And I don't see any. Okay. All right, so let's get our little gal out of the way. Now, another ribbon that would have worked too would be like a solid, or not a solid, but either a hot pink and white or a lime green and white stripe, but I don't have either one of those either. So you work with what you got, right? All right, now, as far as how I'm going to line these guys up, I'm going to make this as my bottom because it's the largest ribbon. Now, I could just... Really, I could just use these two ribbons by themselves, but I don't. I want a little bit more pink in here. So rather than do something like this where I've got green on green and pink on pink, I'm going to line them up like this. I'm going to have the lime green, pink, lime green, pink. Okay, I hope that all makes sense, guys. All right, let me get that out of the way. Now, on the Easy Bow Maker. You know, last week we worked with the Pro Bow, and the Pro Bow is the opposite. On the Pro Bow, we're going to start with the top ribbon and work our way down. On the Easy Bow, we're going to work on our bottom ribbon and build it up. And that's one thing I do like about the Easy Bow is that you can see your bow as you're making it. And that way, if you don't like something or you messed up or something like that, you can change it out easily. Now, we're going to go ahead and start with this 2.5. I'm going to get it out. And I want, this is a big attachment. This little gal right here, she's a big attachment. So I'm going to need a pretty big bow. And that was another thing, too. If I had a 4-inch ribbon that worked, I could have used that. Now I say that out loud, I do have I could use something like this, but, now I'm thinking, I didn't even consider this one. Let me line these out here. We might go with another plan here. Whoops. Or we could even do this. I kind of like that, you guys. I didn't even think about this ribbon right here. And that brings in another pattern, and it's kind of a wow. You know, it's really going to get your attention. It's not too busy. Now, if I went with something like this, I think this would be too busy. I like this. So we're going to try it. Now, if we decide we don't like it, we don't have to use it, right? All right, so let me go ahead. I'm going to change course here. What I was getting ready to say was that, you know, that attachment is pretty large, so we need a large bow to balance it out. You wouldn't want to put a little bitty bow on there. So let's unwind this. This is fabulous ribbon. I do have a little bit of this in my shop if anybody's interested. It's Fair Silk Designer ribbon. Love it. It's really nice ribbon. Has a little bit of glitter to it, which we all like glitter, right? And one thing about Fair Silk, their glitter ribbon, it doesn't shed so much. I mean, some of the other ribbons, I'd have glitter all over my table. This doesn't shed. Okay, now on the Easy Bow Maker, we're going to put our bow or our ribbon over here on this peg, and it's easiest if you let it go out and away from you, because then it doesn't unroll right here where you're working. So I'm going to put that on there. Let me zoom in for you a little bit. I don't know if that's going to help much or not, but we'll see. I can't zoom in on my phone, unfortunately, for TikTok. But all right, now I want a pretty generous tail, so I'm going to make this, let's see, let's make it about 16 inches. And I always lay it down here with my good side up. Make sure you get plenty of ribbon off. Good side is up. Now, I've got my 16 inches here, more or less. If I wanted to, I could go ahead and dovetail my tail right now, but I'm not going to. Now, I've got my 16 inches here. This is how long my tail is going to be, so I'm going to bring this is the center of my bow. I'm going to bring this down. Right side is going to be facing away from me, okay? As I go down, I'm going to twist this ribbon. I'm going to bring my tail down here. Okay? Let me get this little bit more ribbon. Now, as I said, I need a big bow here, and I'm thinking about a 6-inch bow loop. So I'm going to come over here. Remember, we have our inches marked off on each side. I'm going to come over here about 6 inches, and I'm going to hold this ribbon. I'm going to take my ribbon down through these pegs again. Good side is going to be facing away. Okay. Now I'm going to twist it. And that twisting, that allows the good side of the ribbon to be up on the right side of the bow. So I've got one loop there. 6 inches, more or less. It doesn't have to be perfect. All right, now I'm going to come over here. I'm going to find my 6 inches. And again, I'm holding my finger right there. Now, I'm just going to use one loop of this ribbon. That's one thing about designer ribbon. It's expensive, so usually you don't want to use it all throughout your wreath. You're going to use it as a statement piece. I might take a piece or two and put it through, just to make it cohesive, but I'm not going to use a whole bunch of this ribbon because it is expensive. It's really nice ribbon. So I'm just going to make one loop on either side. I'm going to take that now. I don't need to twist it because I've already got the good side showing. I'm just going to take it and I'm going to pinch it, making sure that the edges are turned down. I don't want this. I don't want that showing like that. I want the edges turned down. That's going to make my bow stay laying right, my bow loop. And I'm just going to set that down in there. Okay, and now I'm going to push it down. Isn't that pretty ribbon? I love that. Has just enough shimmer. All right, now I'm going to come down here. I don't know if you can see that or not. Come down here. I'm going to measure against my tail. Let me see if I can get this where you guys can see it. I'm going to measure against my other tail, and I'm going to trim it off. Now I'm going to go ahead and dovetail it. And to dovetail it, I'm just going to take the two edges. I'm going to fold this ribbon in half. This is a little bit more difficult because the ribbon's so stiff. Okay, I'm folding it in half, and I'm just going to cut it at an angle. And it makes a nice finished tail on there. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Fold it in half. And cut it at an angle. Okay. This ribbon makes such a statement, you really could just use this alone as your bow, to be honest. Okay, I'm going to fluff everything out. Now, I'm going to come back with my lime green. And again, I'm going to put this on the spool with the ribbon coming off and away. We'll go ahead and dovetail it since I'm already in that mode. Now I'm going to come down here. I'm going to measure against my other tail, making this one a little bit shorter, say maybe an inch or so shorter. So that's about 15 inches. Okay, I'm going to take, again, the good side is going to go away from me. I'm going to twist it as I come down. Now I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to make this bow loop about 6 inches also. So I'm going to just use this other bow loop as a guide. Hold my finger there. Good side is away from me as I go down the spool. Twist it and push it down. Now you can see the spools are starting to, or the pegs are starting to kind of splay a little bit, and that's, the more ribbon you get in there, the more that's going to happen. So you just kind of hold your finger there against the ribbon so it doesn't, you know, shift up. All right, I'm going to come over here. I'm going to make this one about 6 inches. And I'm just going to pinch it because I'm going to just use one loop. This other, I said I needed a big bow, but now that I'm using that 4-inch ribbon, that takes up a lot of space, so I don't need that many loops. If you wanted to add more loops, you could, but I usually don't when I'm making this kind of a bow. Okay, now I'm going to come back down here. I'm going to compare my tails, trim it off, dovetail it. All right, now we're going to bring our next ribbon, which is the well, you know what? Do I want the rickrack or do I want solid? I think I'm going to, since I added that other, I think I'm going to put my pink in here against it. I guess it really wouldn't matter that much either. Okay, so get my pink undone here. Again, I'm going to put it on the spool with the ribbon going up and away. Now this ribbon doesn't have a good and a bad side, but I still treat it the same way. Okay, so I'm going to bring it down here. I'm going to make this tail just a little bit shorter. About an inch or so. It doesn't, whatever your taste is. If you want to keep all of them the same, you can. All right, again, I've got my tail. I've got my finger marking my place. I'm going to bring it down here, twist it, push it down. Bring it over here. Now this one, I'm going to make it just a little bit shorter. Let's say 5 inches. And as you can see, I can't see my marks on my board. So what I do, I line up these little hash marks with my cutting mat, and then I don't have to move my ribbon out of the way. I can just leave it just like this. So I can see right here that about 5 inches about right here on my mat. And again, these bows don't have to be perfect. If it's just a little bit off, that's okay. I promise nobody's going to notice. All right, now I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to do the same thing, only I'm not going to twist the ribbon. I'm going to look for my 5 inches, which is about right here. I'm going to pinch it. Put it down in there. Push it down. Measure off my tails, trim it, and dovetail it. Now, if you wanted to wait until you had the bow all made to dovetail, that's fine. You don't have to do it right now. There's a lot of times if I'm putting a bow on a wreath, a lot of times I will not even trim my tails until I get my wreath done. Wreath or arrangement, whatever I'm going to use it in. Now, the reason on this one that I chose to put this one on top, other than I didn't want the green up against the green, I also want to highlight that rickrack and that pattern. I just think it's really a cute ribbon. Just looks kind of perky and fun, kind of like what she does. All right, I'm going to dovetail. Bring them down here. I'm going to measure against my tail. Bring it good side is away from me. I'm going to twist it, push it down. Get over here. Now, I'm going to make this bow loop about the same length as the previous one. Maybe just a little bit less, maybe say 4.5 inches. Whereas the one before was about 5. Let's make it about 4.5. Push it down, twist it. Right about 4.5. It's going to be my last loop, so I'm just going to twist, or just going to pinch it. This rickrack's a little bit stiff. It's not wanting to pinch. Okay. All right, now come down here. I cut it. I'm going to dovetail. Now, we've got our bow made. Now we've got to get it off of this board. Now, you can use a pipe cleaner if you like, but I tell you, with this designer ribbon, it's really stiff and bulky, so I prefer to use a zip tie. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to go underneath all the ribbon. Make sure you get all the ribbon, because just trust me, you get all that, you know, your zip tie connected, and then you realize you leave some of your ribbon on the board. It's not a good thing. But I'm going to put it through my pegs underneath the ribbon, diagonally through these pegs. And make sure this little knob that you've got here on our zip tie, it should be pointing downward so the zip tie closes correctly. I'm going to take it down here. Now I'm going to fish up all my ribbon. I'm going to go through my pegs diagonally. Make sure I've got my little knob facing down. I'm going to bring it back over the middle diagonally, and I'm just going to connect my zip tie. Now I'm not going to cinch it down at this point. I've got all my ribbon. I'm going to bring this up, get this out of the way. Isn't that a pretty bow? I love it. Love it, love it. Now, I'm going to take this moment. I'm going to cinch it down just to where I can kind of play with the ribbon, but I can still move it. And make sure all the tails are in the right direction. Usually start with the bottom and work upward. And right here, see how this is kind of twisted under? I'm going to pull that and make sure that it's going to lay right. Now I'm going to take my ribbon and I'm going to kind of crisscross them. Just to kind of highlight all of the ribbons. You know what? I'm going to do it opposite, I think. No, I'm not. I started to do it opposite, but I think I don't want that green up against the green. I want the pink up against the pink. Or pink up against the green, I mean. All right, now once you're happy, and to me right now looking at this, it looks like this loop's a little bit longer. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you don't want it off that much. So I just adjusted it right there. I just brought my two loops up like this, pulled on them till they're the right, you know, they're about the same length. Okay, now I like the ribbon, or I like the bow, I mean. I'm going to take it and turn it over. I need something to attach my wreath to, or my bow to the wreath, so I'm going to put a pipe cleaner underneath of this zip tie. Just like that. Now, I notice when I've got this on the back, some of my ribbon's not laying right, so I'm going to take time to fix it. Fix it now, so my bows and bow tails lay right. All right, now I look it over, still like it. Now I'm going to go ahead and tighten this down. And I usually, on this designer ribbon, I usually use my pliers to get it good and tight. Now I'm going to clip this off. Okay. Now I've got a bow that's going to match perfectly with this little lady. Isn't that going to be cute? I love it. And it shouldn't be too busy against her breeches there. Now, one thing too, now I forgot to mention this. I'm going to be using this in a wreath. If I were making this bow to sell, I still have this zip tie here where you can see it. If I were making this bow just to sell, I would cover that. And all I would do, I would take, I'll go ahead and show it to you anyway. I'm not going to do it on this bow because I usually will put something in the middle of my bow on my wreaths. But I would just take a half of this solid ribbon, this solid ribbon. I would take it, cut it lengthwise in half, fold it in half so that raw edge is not showing, just like that. And then I would fit it over this. And then I'd just tie it in the back. Actually, I'll go ahead and do it just so I can show you. We'll just tie that, and that'll finish that bow off. But like I say, when I'm making wreaths, I usually put something in the middle, whether it be greenery or an ornament, or in her case, I think last time I made this wreath, I think I put a little daisy there in the middle. But isn't that pretty? Hey, Christina. Hey, Jamie. Thank you. Thank you. I can't wait to make this wreath. Okay, I'm going to look on TikTok and see if I can see any questions. Oh, hello, Ruby. I can't, I'm so sorry. I just cannot see people's names on here. So sorry. I hope you can see all right. Vince is wanting to know. Yeah, Judy, you noticed one loop was bigger. Yeah, I did too. Okay, Vince is wanting to know, do you decrease your loops by an inch or a half inch each time? The answer to that is yes. Yeah, sometimes I do it an inch, sometimes I do it a half inch. There's no set rule on this. Now between the 4 and the 2.5 to the 1.5, I decreased it an inch. But then or did I do a half inch? I can't remember. But there's no set rule for me. Either way. Hey, Ethel May. It looks like you were looking all over for me. Yeah, sometimes the YouTube, it's a little bit before it picks up. Oh, thank you, guys. Thank you so much. All right, let me see if I have any questions on YouTube. All right, Jamie's wanting to know. I'm sorry, you guys. I know you're probably looking at the back of my head here. Let me see. I'm going to bring the questions over here where I can see them. Do you use 50-yard rolls to keep the cost of your bows down? If so, where do you find the larger rolls? I have a hard time finding patterned 50-yard rolls. Yeah, Jamie, it is. You will find less 50-yard patterned ribbons than you will solids, because solids will go with more things. But generally, every place that I buy ribbons have, well, not all of them, I shouldn't say that. Like the designer ribbons, you won't find those in 50-yard rolls that I know of. But I know Deco Exchange has 50-yard rolls. Sims Pottery has 50-yard rolls. Craft Outlet has 50-yard rolls. And I think Khalees also sells 50-yard rolls. I haven't been on her site for a while. But yeah, it does help to keep the cost down most times. And especially if you're using a lot, you're making a lot of bows or making a lot of wreaths with ribbon, that's the way to go. And not, you don't want to just think about the cost of the ribbon. You also got to think about your shipping costs. If you're ordering over and over and over a 10-yard roll of ribbon, you can get the same amount in one shipment in a 50-yard roll. They even make 100-yard rolls too. Okay, any other questions? I'm trying to pull your question up, Elizabeth, but it won't let me get the rest of it. How do you make that bow, that pattern on the top ribbon? Elizabeth, for some reason, it's not letting me see all of your question. I can just see to the top ribbon, that's all I can see. If you want to ask the rest of the question again, I'll be happy to answer. All right, TikTokers, I'm going to pull you down so I can see. Let's see if I have any questions over on TikTok while Elizabeth's answering or putting the rest of her question in. Hi, M. Millard, 1959. Everybody has weird names on TikTok. That's the one thing. I don't know who it is. All right, let me see if Liz's question is finished. Liz, are you still there? Jamie's wanting to know, will I make this wreath in a live? I made a wreath like this in our design group. I have not made it live publicly, but I made one last summer with them. Okay, I don't know if Liz is still there or not. Liz, if I missed your question, just and you're still here, just go ahead and send me an email, and I'll be happy to answer that question for you. And also on TikTok, if anybody's watching and you have any questions, I haven't answered it, just send me an email, and the link is in my bio. Hey, Deborah. All right, let me show you some other ribbons I just listed today, too, in case you're interested. I don't want you to feel pressured at all. But I've got... Oh, wait. I want to show you another one, too. I've got that... We were talking about matching our ribbons. Here's another 4-inch that I have. If you guys can all see it. Isn't that pretty? It's more of a fall ribbon, but I bought this ribbon specifically to go with this floral spray. If you guys can see it out there. See how, I'm going to show TikTok and then I'll show you the rest of you guys. See how that blues are hard to match, in my opinion. But anyway, see how it's got some green in there too? Now this is an instance where I'm matching my ribbon to my florals. And we're going to make a fall wreath with this. And I found this ribbon. I just happened across. I wasn't even looking for it, but I knew immediately I wanted this ribbon to go with those florals. Isn't that gorgeous? I can't wait to make it. But see, even when you're looking at your ribbons, let me drop you guys down again on TikTok. Sorry, I don't want to make you sick, but trying to show everybody at the same time. But anyway, when you're looking at your florals as far as matching ribbons, you don't want to just look at the petals themselves. You want to look at all the different colors and look at this greenery. And even the greenery matches this ribbon. Can you see that? Even the greenery matches perfectly. And I'm going to be using this. Now, I want this ribbon to be showcased. So I'm not going to put a whole bunch of other ribbons with it. What I'm going to do, I'm going to either use just a solid, well, wait a minute. I'll either use a solid moss green. I generally would not, unless I just didn't have any other options, I wouldn't put a 4-inch and just a 1-inch with it. But isn't that going to be pretty? I would probably use this ribbon. But then I also have this velvet ribbon. Isn't that gorgeous? And no, I don't have any of this listed in my shop, but I just wanted to show you. But to me, even this with the silver on the edges, it adds a little bit of a luxury to it. Plus, it also pulls out that white or that cream color to me in the ribbon. I think those will just be gorgeous. Can't wait to use it. but anyway, I got sidetracked here, guys. I meant to show you that. But I wanted to show you also some of the other, I listed, besides that stripe ribbon, I also listed 3 other designer ribbons. I've got this 4-inch Harlequin. It's glittered. It has the same texture as the striped ribbon. You can see that, how much body it has. And then I also have a 2.5 in that glittered stripe. These are all fair silk. And then I also, if you don't like glitter, I've got this, they call it a foil, that it kind of has the appearance of a satin, only it's really good body, but it has just a little bit of sheen. I don't know if you can see that. It has a little bit of sheen to it. But again, a really good bodied ribbon. They are a little pricey, I'll tell you that, but as I said, you try to just use a little bit less of it. You wouldn't, I certainly wouldn't want to cut out and fill 18 ribbon ties with this kind of ribbon. You wouldn't do it. I mean, it'd cost you a fortune. But you just make a statement bow, and maybe sprinkle it another place in the bow or in the ribbon. Oh, Elizabeth, you like that blue ribbon too? Elizabeth, I couldn't see the end of your question earlier. You were asking about how do you make the bow on that pattern on top of and then it cuts off, and I cannot pull it up for some reason. Okay, let me see if I have any other questions. Hi, Dawn. Thank you so much for being here, you guys, on TikTok. I'm a little green on TikTok as far as going live. I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but hopefully with practice we'll get better. I've gone live tons of times on the other platforms, but I just don't know too much about TikTok. Hi, Barbara. All right, any other questions? Hey, Linda. Barbara's wanting to know, if you join the group, can you see past videos? Yes. Yes, you have access to everything that the group members have had. Yes. Oh, and Jamie's asking on this attachment, are the legs wired? No, they are not. They're just pretty stiff. They are not wired, though. Yeah, and she's a cutie. I can't wait to use it. I can't believe I didn't use it last year. But I've got a lot of stuff I won't be able to get to this year, too. So, Where am I? I'm in Indiana, in Terre Haute, Indiana, which Terre Haute, it's right on the west edge of the state of Indiana. And I'm trying to think where to tell you. Probably about an hour southwest of Indianapolis, if that helps. All right, any other questions? Okay, I don't see any more. And that's all I have for you today. Thank you guys so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And if you have any questions, let me know. Oh, you're a fan of the lemon wreaths? Oh, me too. I have to watch that and sunflowers. I feel like that's all I want to make these days. And so I have to watch. But thank you so much, Dawn. I really appreciate that. All right, I'm going to get off of here. You guys have a great rest of your day. Group members, I will be live in our group about 3 o'clock Eastern Time with our wreath critiques. I can't wait to talk to you. Thanks again, you guys. Have a great day. Bye-bye.